Eric, big announcement just came across Ridgeline, who was let go of Travis Van Leeuwen. The football coach there has now just hired their new coach, and it's a local product.
Another Travis.
Yep, there you go. Actually,
and another Utah State football alum.
Yep, and this one was a Mountain Crest quarterback. He set a couple records there, went to Utah State, and was a quarterback for the Aggies from 01 to 04. Travis Cox is the new head football coach, and joining us here on the Full Court Press Live, a man who I incredibly respect and have a lot of admiration for, and that's Coach Mike Hansen. I call him Coach because he's the former baseball coach at Logan High and did great things there. Now the athletic director at Ridgeline. Coach, thanks for joining us. Greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, glad to be there, and I listen to you guys often, and I appreciate the service you give to the whole community. So I'm glad to be with you.
We appreciate it. Hey, first thing first, I think the question a lot of people did want to know is why did you and your administration decide to let go of Travis Van Leeuwen?
That's kind of a loaded question, a question that there's not a whole lot we can say about that in respect to the coach and to the institution, but we just felt like things needed to go in a different direction, that things could maybe be done to improve our football program here, and we just felt it was a necessary move.
When you had the opening, then what was the process like for the type of candidates that you looked at, and how? Yeah, you don't need to name names. I don't want you to do that. But how big of a field of candidates were you looking at and sifting through?
So we had a total of 18 applications come in. We screened those, and we had a committee of 8 comprised of administrators, head coaches. We had 3 of our head coaches on the committee, and we had a couple community members on it. We screened through 18, and we interviewed 7 candidates.
And again, you don't want to do names here. With those 7 candidates, were any of them former head coaches of other schools?
There were. There was one that's a current head coach, and I appreciate you not asking names because several of those are doing it anonymously.
Sure.
That we don't want to damage anything they have going. Several of them, a couple were head coaches in other parts, current head coaches. Several of them been assistants for many years. And but most of them were all under those 2 areas.
I want to ask you. Being a former high school baseball coach, at Green Canyon, we lasted for 14 games and we were let go. How much, when you hired Travis Van Leeuwen and then decided to let him go, and I don't know how specific you want to get, if you don't want to answer, it's understandable, but with parents, wanting to make sure their kids are having success or having an enjoyable experience and being a part of the program, how much of the decision to let go of him was part of complaints maybe from parents and how much of it was thought, we do want to move into a different direction, even though this was Van Leeuwen's first year in the program?
Absolutely no influence came from the community and from parents. This was literally an in-house decision based on what we had been monitoring, what we had seen, and hundreds of discussions that we have had about the direction of the football program.
So you talked about some of the candidates that you had looked at and some of the qualifications some of them had. What was it that ultimately pushed Travis Cox into that position to be named the next head coach?
A lot of things. One of them was his familiarness with these kids, with these athletes. We don't feel like we're starting over here. We, especially with Travis reaching out to quite a few of the assistant coaches, we feel like that we've got a good continuation. Many of these kids have worked with Travis all the way growing up in the youth and right up until the freshman, even in the freshman program at Ridgeline a couple of years ago. And so we felt there was a real familiarity he had with the kids, with the community. We feel like he's got a good backing in the community and support in that regards. And we loved his plan. Very enthusiastic. And that's a key word, the plan. What is the plan? Not just, for a month from now, but what is it for, 60 days, 6 months, a year, 3 years? And we really attracted to that.
How cool is it for you guys to be able to hire someone that's local? I mean, obviously, Travis Cox is a household name here in the Valleys. He played at Mountain Crest, had 4 great years there, played at Utah State, and was a quarterback there. How much does that attract you guys, him being local and being familiar with the Valley and the community in itself?
It's very comfortable. One of our candidates, without a name, was from Louisiana, and even though we were, we really liked in our visit with him, that unknown was also part of our conversations. That would be a struggle. We think that with Travis's long-time status in the Valley and all of the contacts and that he has, that I think it's he can hit the ground just sprinting, just really going quick.
When it comes to coaches at the high school level, I recall when my high school days, I had certain classes, and that was the coach of the tennis team, or that was the coach of the basketball team. But it didn't seem like some coaches I didn't always see in the building. And granted, I wasn't always in every place of the building. What is the requirements when it comes to a high school coach and then being in the building, teaching a class, things like that? How does that work at the high school level?
The perfect scenario is that every head coach would be in our building, would be a full-time teacher. Long ago back when I started, and probably for my first 15 years, that seemed to be what the model was, and that we all helped each other coach. That's not the model anymore. It's interesting you asked that, because last night we sat at a Ridgeline event, and my wife asked me the question, how many of your coaches are currently in the school, of your head coaches? We went through every program, and which is over 20, plus 20 plus, and we had 4 head coaches in our school. And that's not a good number. That's not something that you would, plan to do, but that's also what the model is. I've been many years at Logan. We had the same thing. It's just really hard now to find teachers / coaches, and it's getting harder. A lot harder.
So does that mean that a lot of these coaches, whether it be male or female, they have other responsibilities outside of school, what they do, whether a job, and then how to work that into what you would want them as an athletic director to fulfill their duties as a coach? I guess that'd be just some of the difficulties of arranging that and coordinating that.
Has to be a lot of flexibility. I mean, we have some programs that don't start practice till 5 and 5:30 in the evening, because they're not just the head coach, but the coaching staffs all are full-time, have full-time careers at another location. So we're at the mercy of their time as well, and so we're trying to juggle that. And it makes it a lot more difficult. We have to be a lot more flexible and work with a lot of different schedules.
Mike Hansen, Ridgeline Athletic Director, joining us here, former great Logan baseball coach. I want to ask you, you said that a couple of community members were a part of this interview process in deciding to hire Travis Cox. What was the basis of how to choose those community members to be a part of the process?
Well, we looked at quite a list of community members, and we get that list by, obviously, within ourselves. We know contacts. We ask other community members, who do you think could be a good fit, who would be very unbiased, to be in this process. We were mindful of, we had several candidates that we thought of, but then we ended up not having them or changing that because of maybe certain issues that they may have in knowing, or just things that we thought might muddy the waters a little, and we were very careful of that.
I also want to ask you, it's the first time we actually had a chance to talk to you since you've moved to Ridgeline. What brought you to Ridgeline? What got you away from a place that you called home for so long to take you to Ridgeline High School to be athletic director?
Yeah, tough decision. Not only, spent the last 12 years there, excuse me, but I'm a Logan High graduate, so I have a lot of love, admiration, and memories at Logan High. But I think the biggest thing was where I'm at in my life, and what I felt like me and my wife needed going forward. And we felt like this was a great fit. As I look at maybe 5-6 more years before maybe doing something different. And this was just a very smooth fit for us, and it's been a great switch over.
You ever have the itch to want to go back to coach baseball? You were so good at it. Was it? I mean, I can't imagine how hard it was to walk away. Do you have the itch to go back at all?
We'll always have that itch, and you never know. I'm not going to say no on that one.
Fair enough.
I love to take care of a baseball field, so maybe it'll be just to go and rake the dirt.
There you go, be the field guy.
Yeah.
I know that we came out of the fall sports season. We're kind of into the winter sports season. Ridgeline had some tremendous accomplishments recently with individuals and with some teams over this last little bit. I mean, that as an athletic director, you help oversee all that and help make some of those things happen. This got to be extremely gratifying when you see individual athletes achieve at the highest level, state championships, or in the running for some of these other things, in the region competitive in various different sports. I mean, how has that been like for you as an athletic director, seeing some of that culminate and happen under your watch?
Oh, I absolutely. That's the highlight of my job is working with the variety of coaches, the different philosophies, and the different athletes that I get to. I just try not to get in their way. When I became an athletic director, I said one thing to all the coaches I work for, and that's what I told them. I said, I work for you. And I said, I will do anything. I'll clean the field. I'll pick up garbage. I'll do whatever. I just want you to go out and coach these athletes and enjoy the experience. But man, I've had so much fun enjoying the different teams and the different coaches, and to watch the successes. Yeah, the successes are great. I mean, the region championships. We're fortunate to have had some of those here this fall. I mean, we saw a 4-time state champion. I was only part of for one season in Nyatilla at tennis, and it's just really cool to see the hard work payoff that these athletes and these coaches are putting in. But it doesn't have to be a championship. I've equally enjoyed any of the programs that people don't understand how hard it is to win a championship. It's a difficult thing, and so we celebrate all the successes, whether it's a trophy or just getting through the destination, the journey that playing is.
Coach, with the RPI system being the way it is right now in athletics, what is your thoughts on that as the athletic director? Do you feel like it's working? Do you want to see changes? And if so, what changes would you like to see?
Well, I think there will be some adjustments. I don't know if they'll be very major. I had the opportunity to sit with the 6 schools and their football programs as they did all region selections, and it was interesting to listen to them as coaches, as head coaches, discuss what they felt after year one was the pros and cons to it. They have some of their own suggestions and ideas. It seemed to be everybody's really kind of hasn't quite got a grasp on the fact that is scheduling that harder team worth it, even though it's a loss, or is that win still very valuable? And I remember several coaches saying they still felt that win outweighed playing the harder team and maybe having the loss. But those are things that still be discovered, and so we're just kind of getting our feet wet with it. The playoffs are the big discussion. I've already discussed with Travis, with Coach Cox, that that 10th week game, which is UEA weekend, does he want to play it or does he not want to play it? And, if you don't play that game and potentially have a bye, you got 3 full weeks that you don't play. And so the playoffs format is the one big discussion that's happening throughout the state is, maybe how can we change that and tweak that. So 3 weeks a long time.
Are you worried about how it could affect You've been in the game of baseball for so long. Are you worried about how it could affect high school baseball?
Oh, I think every sport has some legitimate concerns, and that's why we really need to get through this first year so we can kind of evaluate it. I don't think any of us can be very fair to the system if we're evaluating it before it happens. We may have some built-in concerns before it happens, but it'll be interesting to just see how it happens, as each season ends.
Again, Mike Hansen, the athletic director at Ridgeline High School. Again, the big announcement today, Travis Cox named as the new football coach for Ridgeline. And I just to circle back on that, just to kind of finish things up for us here. You talked about a vision that he had for the team. Is that something that you could share with us, and what his experience or what his thought process is, where to take this Ridgeline football team in the future?
I think he's just going to bring a tremendous work ethic. He shared some slides today with the team, and we had several parents in there as well. And he complimented the kids very much on the ingredients they already have, kind of the physical ingredients. We feel like there's a lot of talent here. Where he was really addressing the fact was making this kind of an obsession, making this maybe a little more important, making the weight room much more important than maybe it has been, and so kind of a challenge for these young men to take this to a new level as far as their effort, their energy, and I think he'll bring that. That's what we were attracted to, as we felt. He came in with just a plan, and I learned that from Coach Brown at Logan. The word plan and how important that plan is, and having a plan, and not just waking up in the morning and deciding, hey, what do we do? And that's one of the things that I look for personally is in any program is what's that plan that the coach had, and he has that of how he's going to make these young men successful on the football field and make the program. And so we're all ready. We're ready to go and get after it.
Final question. What was the advice? You've been a long-time head coach. What was the advice, if you could share, to Travis as he starts his head coaching career in Ridgeline?
Enjoy the process. One of the things I'm so grateful for is I coached with so many good coaches and so many great people. And Coach Stott, who very well.
Absolutely.
One thing he spoke of very a lot to the young men was, this is a process. Don't think it's going to happen tomorrow. Enjoy the process and enjoy every day of it. And that would be my biggest advice to coach and to any coach was, don't try to not make the highs too high, the lows too low, and enjoy every day of it, because it is a great thing. I'm fortunate, 33 years in high school athletics, and wouldn't trade it for anything.
Hey, Coach, can't tell you enough. Thank you so much for your time. I know I called you earlier in today, and you were so kind about it, and greatly appreciate you and wish you nothing but the very, very best. You're a very well-respected man around this valley, and for good reason. So keep up the great work.
Hey, thanks, both of you. I appreciate it, and I'll keep listening.
We appreciate it.
Okay.
Hey, thanks, Coach.
All right, see you later.